I think of the life of a miner who must work all his day underground, where his lamplight is all that will shine there, and it's dark and it's damp all around. It is 2 or 3 miles to the coal face, and the tunnel is jagged and low, but he cannot find work on the surface, so it's down in the mines he must go.
Well, we've just come in off the Miners' Way, and I'm delighted to say we're in the home of Sean Christie here in the Rigna, another one of the former miners. Sean, thanks for inviting us in, and great to catch up with you and great to have a chat with you. The Rigna mines, you went into them at a young enough age.
After 13 years, I was born in 56, but 1969, 17 went into them.
Seems like only yesterday in some ways, but the years haven't been long flying in.
That's all, the fluid showed it, because of good crack, and
yeah,
you got used to working on the whole lot.
We were talking a little bit earlier on to another one of the miners, I think would have started the same day, which is Mickey Joe McLaughlin.
Mickey Joe McLaughlin started the same day. He started Fairmount in Lynchton, he started in Donaghuggy.
Yeah.
Beside the mine museum there.
And getting a job in the mines that time, Sean, was a matter of going and seeing some of the colliery owners, quick chat and start in the morning.
I see one of the bosses and you got the job straight away, because I was a very weighty bucket, 4 stone weight in 13 years, and
Yeah.
still to chance me, to start to me.
First day, first job, can you remember it?
I do. I was outside for the first couple of 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
It was good enough now. You wouldn't be afraid. I was used to it. I was born beside it and I was used to it. And used to work now. So to come good enough to me now. But
And it was a great opportunity, I suppose, to learn the workings of the pit from the outside before you moved in.
When I moved in, I was too young, too weak to listen to me in the first few months, and I went in after. Inside was different now, with explosions and explosives, you know, you'd be...
Yeah.
If you didn't know your way, you'd be afraid of it now.
Yeah.
You'd be afraid of banging and going and everything. So we're often 1.5 miles, 2 miles in Rock Hill.
That's an interesting thing that you just brought up for miners, say, that would start in the pits, and you know, that hear the explosions, and even to hear them down in the Rigna, you could hear them going off, you could hear the bang. What was it like to be up there? Now, again, just like myself, you would have lived here or there, and you would have heard them, but when you were a little bit closer to them, what sort of an experience was that like?
To be an awful fucking shot of them. Be an awful explosion of them. You'd put your fingers in your ears and hold them together to numb it, and you're 100 yards away from them, and you're eating it, drinking a cold bottle of tea and a cut of bread at Peaceberry. And the reek of the shots was unmerciful. Smoke.
And you wanted to have your wits about you when
you need to know where you're going now. You wouldn't need to stand looking at the shot when you lit it. You had a minute or foot to get away from it. The strum's only 2.5 foot long. You're only 2.5 minutes to go away from it. If you had 6 of them to light, you were counting now. It's not long.
And you'd be, as the saying goes, taking fairly quick steps to get away from once you had it set.
You would be taking quick steps to get away. If you lit the first fuse, you could stick the other ones into them, and the light automatics, bang, 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 bang. But now you'd be getting shaky if you got stuck lighting one for a while.
Was there ever, maybe say, if some of them didn't go off?
There was, I missed shots, they
yeah.
wouldn't go back to it that evening.
And that would be kind of a...
Next day they go back in and pull it and put in a different cap, strum into it, and blast it.
And again, you'd have to be on your guard going back in to make sure.
You'd have to be. It could be delayed when a damp strum, the damp cortex that's laid into the cap, it could be damp and it could be slow burning. One man got caught in Michael McDonough from Drumshanbo, went back, thought it was going off, it wasn't going off. Those 40 shots gone off, you'd know your own shots and you count them down the line, who did first.
And of course you couldn't go back into till all them were gone off. Tell me about the first job that you had inside in the pits, Sean. Was it drawn?
Drawn.
Yeah. And again, as a young lad going in like that and pushing hutches of coal, what type of weight would there be that you'd be pushing?
The hutch would be 2.5 on the weight, and you'd be putting 600-700 of coal in it.
Right.
If that came off the road, you'd try and harsh it up on a rail, get it on again. Now it is heavy lifting now.
And what would the pit road be? Would there be hills on it, or would it be flat?
It'd be hills up and down. Up and down.
Yeah.
You'd often have a man giving you a push up with the empty hutch, trying to get up and coming back down the hill. There's 2 wheels on the hutch. You stick in the bar between 2 back wheels and not let them go around at all. When you got down the bed, he'd pull it out and you'd flew it again. She's sliding on the track just.
And when does it come to trying to go up, maybe say some of the steep hills in it, would there be much help there? Footers, wasn't it? They used to call them. Some of them would give you a hand to push it
up.
up.
Give you a hand to push it up. There would I be a man there for that night with you. There would I.
Would that have been a job that would have been given maybe to someone new starting off? Would they be going?
A young fella, a young buck.
Yeah.
A new fella.
And you'd be dependent on them to give you a hand to.
You would I, because every man mightn't be interested now. You're running a lot of time to here and there. If you're pushing 10 or 12 drawers up the hill, you are busy enough.
When you be on tonnage, Sean, and we often heard it throughout the course of these interviews as well, and if a hutch came off the rails, that could be tricky to get it back on.
It would be, but once you got 6-8 months in the pit, you'd know it.
Yeah.
Man, until you put it on the lane for one front and the back, and you could jack it up and put it on. But get your shoulder to it.
Yeah.
And pure solid power after that, put it on the front first, the back then lift it up and put it on.
Yeah. There was a bit of an act to it as
well. There was an act to it, surely. There was an act to it.
Yeah.
An act to it and a bit of the jack about it to put it on. Yeah. You had to keep going at it. There was no one else there to help you. Some lads would help you, and they might laugh at you. No.
There was a lot of the miners in it would have been part-time farmers as well. In your case, you could have been a full-time farmer and a full-time miner. Talk to me about the day. Once you get out of the pit, the day was only starting for you in one sense then when you came home, because there was a lot of farming that you were always doing.
Done, and you were up in the morning, you were working at 8, you were up at 6 in the morning feeding the cattle before you went to work. When you came home in the evening, you were feeding them again and getting things ready for the morning. You were just busy, you were only starting work. In the morning and evening you had to go to the cattle and do this and do that.
Yeah.
Go out to turf and go out everything, save turf and save spuds and.
The summer holidays in the 3 weeks from the end of July and the beginning of August, that was always an opportunity, I suppose, to try and get a few bits and pieces done in the farm.
Get the hay saved, get the hay done.
Yeah.
Get the hay done and the spuds dug and all, get that ready for the winter. If you didn't, you had fucking nothing. You'd be starving. Oh, get all that done, you had to. You should put in big gales, the cabbage and onions and everything that too.
Yeah. Nowadays, when it comes to summer holidays, and you hear people talking about where they're going, I suppose it's the furthest distance you can travel, Lanzarote, Spain, America, or wherever. Did that ever tempt you to go on any of them type of holidays?
I was in Bundown about 1972. I never stood on it since.
Yeah. No.
We got to live down the bus from McCann's pub. That's how I never would leave this country around here. No.
Yeah, you had no longer to go travel.
No. I'd like going to the pit and go and work on it now.
But the main mode of transport back then as well, and you'd hear about all the Honda 50s and the 70s that got up. You still use that mode of transport from time to time?
I do. I have a Honda 90 myself now. I'd had 50s, 70s, every sort of bike. I wouldn't be that one motorbike now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that one. No, I'd be lost to that one.
Yeah.
No.
It was a good way of travelling.
And they used to call them the chicken chasers, weren't they?
That's right.
Was it Matley Hidden put it on them, I think. They used the chicken chasers coming. Yeah. There was about 30 or 40 of them in Rigna.
And there was a lot of chicken chasers doing the rounds at that time.
Was, they called the chicken chaser, Matley Hidden questioned them that.
Yeah.
Often 20th left here was Sunday, go up to Boyle for a few points for bikes, motorbikes. Yeah. Clancy's pub and all around in the ring.
They were a good mode of transport.
They were as good as a helicopter.
Yeah.
And Shaper to run. The more. Well, so that you go out to the mine and do full day's work on 150 a petrol.
There was in the ring at that time as well, for an awful lot of the miners who would meet, probably was down in the local, and there was a couple of pubs. You'd have remembered, obviously, Flynn's was on the go, McCrann's was on the go, and Tom Andy's.
I drank in Tom Andy's pub, I drank in some pub too. No, from McCrann's and Flynn's.
What were the pubs like, say, when everyone was walking to the mines? Must have been huge crowds in it.
Must be packed tight. Yeah. And then the folks working the pit could drink. 5 or 6 pints would be nothing. 10, 15, 20 pints, some of them. No problem. No, I drink it and walk away with it on them.
And they were well able to...
able to handle no roaring or shouting or nothing, or fighting or stabbing or knifing or nothing. Make their own way home and go to work the next day again.
And they'd all appear at work the next day?
They would appear at work. If you didn't appear every day at work, you had no money for next weekend for porter. Yeah. You know, all the appearance, no, nice men, there was nice men. Pat the Twin, Francie Murray and all them boys, drinking McCann's, the whole lot. All the miner could drink now. He was a whore for drink.
I remember when you used to be in the bar yourself, not maybe that terribly long ago, go back for the last 20 years, you were very disciplined and you set yourself by times. You nearly came in at the same time every night and you went home at the same time every night.
I had 4, 5, 6 pints and 2 hot halves was gone. Yeah. That could be 7 nights a week.
Yeah. And you'd have the same amount Monday night or Friday night?
Monday night, Friday night, the same night. I wouldn't stay any later. Drinking after 10 or 12 at night, you kill a jackass. You wouldn't be fit from the morning. No. You'd know it, you wouldn't do it the next day. No, I'd always drink my own quart and go home. Walk away and go home. No. 5 or 6 pints and 2 or 3 hot halves now. She had 40 pints a week and 10 half once a touch in a bad drink, you know.
Yeah, you'd add them all up over
When you go
over
working
the
the next
course of the
day,
week.
you'd sweat them out again. You drink them that night again, you know, you'd be sweating them out. To be warm underground now, you work. The sweat will be flowing you.
Yeah, it'll be gone fairly quick the next day.
But whatever long we get here now, to be drowned wet and sweat sometimes, working drawn.
When the word came out that the pits were going to close, Sean, in 1990, and there was a lot of fellas looking for other jobs and bits and pieces at that stage after it. One of the things that you would have done a lot of farm work, and I suppose maybe you could call it contract work as well for a while after that.
Doing gardens, doing everything. I went to the wood for a while. Yeah. Worked in the forest, you know, hard work too, cutting timber, chainsaws. Yeah. Pulling timber up with horses and everything. Down at Benamore. And
you were telling us a little bit earlier on as well, you got a kind of state-of-the-art strimmer at the time.
I did, a big strimmer, still strimmer. I used to cut gardens here and there for all around the country. I had rakes of contacts on it. If you were willing to work, you got to work. Mm.
And nowadays, you see all these fellas as contractors, there's Hiluxes and pickup trucks and whatever. You were able to bring nearly everything around the tractor or the motorbike.
Tractor or the motorbike, I'd bring it.
Yeah.
The box at the back of the bike, they used to call it the fridge. I'd bring it around the tractor, the strimmer, bring it with you, no problem. You'd be working all around the rig now. No. Well, you get lots of work at that, gardens and cutting timber and cutting hedges and bushes and fencing and putting out doing with an ace and carton.
So that was enough. That was enough for the, especially in the summertime of the year.
Oh, it was lads.
Yeah.
On the road with an ace and carton out down.
Yeah.
He was like an Arctic that.
Yeah, you'd be able to keep all that going. You, in latter years, then you moved back in kind of working. But not in the pits, but with a rigging of fuels again. You were back in there for a while.
I was back for over 30 years with them. They took me back one day there, to go back doing a couple of days work, and they kept me full time again too. Yeah. I spent 20 there, and I suppose in the pits, and I spent over 30 with the ladies. I'd be 52, 53 years with them.
Which was a great service.
It was a good service. I worked with Dennis Flynn and Mick and Joe for a while too, once or twice. I worked with them, they were sound to work with too. Yeah. The ladies were sound. I worked there now. It wouldn't be that easy work, but they're all right now. They paid you every weekend, that's, you got money. That was the you got money. They're good enough. You're a worker, that's how you on. No, that's how we on now.
And most of the time you were working, Sean, was it all kind of on tonnage you would have been paid?
A lot of time on tonnage, even bagging, and in the mines too, you'd be on tonnage at night time. If you're brushing the road, so much a yard, and shopping coal, so much a ton.
Must pay it that way. What was it like when you went down to Rigna Fuels and you were dealing with the coal, but everything that was kind of that you were working with the raw material, it was all imported in. It was all coming off the docks in Sligo.
All coming in from the docks, came in about the Sligo until lorried up to Rigna.
Yeah, must have been a change, was it?
A change, surely.
Yeah.
A change, there'd be more buttons to be pressed there than you have pressed underground, because there's only a shovel and you're fished underground, and a pick and a hammer. That's what you had. Them was your tools. Yeah. And a bottle of tea in one pocket and a cut of bread in the other one, and you could make a hog or a dog with it and keep going after that.
There was no deli counters and lattes.
Never had a flask in my life in it.
Yeah.
Spent 20 years underground, so I was 13 years and I drank cold tea all my life. Yeah. I was even going to the bag yet, I'd bring a cold bottle of tea and drink it. Got used to it, you get used to it.
Yeah. It was all going back to habits again. When you were walking below and everyone was dealing with all this coal, and yet so much coal still in the mountains and still under the ground in Rigna, were you disappointed? Were you sad when the mines closed, on?
Ah, you'd missed them. Sure, I trained in the pits. No. I mean, I tell you one time, you were born with a lump of coal in your mouth for a dummy. You were that used to the pits, For a souther, you were sucking a lump of coal quicker than a souther.
And there was a good social scene to it. There was a bit of, you were meeting people, and there was a bit of...
Oh, you meet some off nice fellas cracking it, but you meet that buck too in it now. Yeah. You try and catch you if you didn't watch it.
What who were the best characters you would have worked at maybe in the mines?
Oh, Pat the Twin and Pat Lynch, McGilrain and all them books, Paddy Winey, there was a rake of them, Johnny McTeer, and was 20 they'd have the cut of bread with you. And they mightn't have much on it. Might be only sugar or one day, bread and jam, and they give it to you. Nice. Oh, you have to be good enough to be sound, man. I worked with Pat Lynch for years and years. I threw off together, me and him was together for a long time together now. Paddy Winey, Pat the Twin, and Jesus Christ, Johnny McManus, Ger Twin.
All names that I can remember you rhyming off there. There would have been great characters in it.
There would be the best of men, no. Good natured out bucks, no. Big strong men, but good natured bucks. 99% of the menu. Yeah. You meet that buck wouldn't be as nice to you something,
But most of them were.
Most of them would be. You never forget one that was good to you, no.
Yeah.
No.
They were 100%.
Oh, they'd help you out as a young buck now. When you're a young buck, 12, 13 years, you don't forget who was good to you now. No, they'd help you out now. They'd show you, they'd have to learn your bits, show you right from wrong,
And getting that kind of learning on the job was invaluable too. It would give you, I suppose, the chance to get confident and to get used to it yourself then.
Much as we were lucky enough for born beside the pits, we often went into a Saturday and going to school to see them working it, you know. We got used to it that way a bit too more, you know. The buck there come from far away now, he'd get a hop going into the pits. One buck came one day and he went in and he couldn't get out. He said, if I got the whole egg came in and I'd be long gone, he said, he couldn't get the way out. I'd be in the 50 or 56 roads in underneath it. Rock Hill was a mile and a half in, sure. Over a mile and a half in Rock Hill, long walk into work.
And that kind of, when you be going with that walk, you'd say the prayer every morning and hope that you come out of it.
You said that prayer, you mutter something, and you know, you bless yourself, and you know.
Yeah. And did you ever miss us along the way, Sean, in all those years?
There was a couple of titans I had now, a couple of other ones now. One day beside you, Jimmy Pearson, which is a pace close. She thought I was dead, but I wasn't. I was out, got out. But she'd passed no heat and went back in into it. Jimmy Pearson was a strong man too.
So then goes you rolled with the punches if it was a...
Oh, you would. You'd find a creaking and cracking now.
Yeah.
If you went in the middle of the night now at 3 o'clock, that's supposed to change that time. You'd find awful cracks over the timber and everything.
Was there, I suppose, a realisation that was maybe the only... If you wanted to stay on a Rigna, it was probably the only job that was...
It was the only job, Nate. It was the only job. Lots of work on it. There was lots of work on it. Yeah. Oh, you get used to it.
Tell me about the farming that you're involved in.
Oh, I keep like cows and calves and a donkey and a pony and a dog, and used to have hens one time when the lassie was here, but she's not here anymore. There's no hens now, and ducks used to have them.
Did you ever deal much with sheep?
No, not sheep, no. I never owned sheep, but we keep a lot of black cattle, having Angus cows.
Not surprised. I remember my father buying a pet lamb a few years ago. Peter was the sheep's name.
Peter was his name. I got him as a pet. Your father bought him after us. A big lump of sheep he was.
I think she broke more hearts from Cross Hill eating stuff off lines and everything.
She was a pure pet, the country. Was better with sucking battle. She was a threat to a sheep, surely.
Yeah.
She'd go anxious.
So why did you say mainly with cattle? Probably less bother with them, or you were more confident with them maybe than sheep?
You would be more confident. Wouldn't travel as far as sheep. Sheep is what you keep in. And could make bad neighbours for you, thieving here and there. Men wouldn't keep fences made or that, you know. But sheep might be handy, and cows calving is awkward enough now.
Absolutely, and you'd probably need. Would there be most of the when a cow would be careful like that? Most of you be able to walk yourself, or would you have to go for the vit at the time, or Jerry Dolan or whoever?
Sometimes you have to go for a vit, Lynch or Jerry Dolan or some of them. Yeah. If you get into bad with them, but you can lose them too now. You know, you can lose them. Yeah. It can happen just now. Just luck is in the thing with it now. Your luck is with you.
That time, a lot of the households used to kind of live off what would be on the lands to be obviously cows being milked.
Oh, well, cows milked, the whole lot, spuds, onions, spuds, cabbage.
Hens and eggs.
Hens and eggs, everything. Milk the cow. We often milk the cow here for years and years.
I heard a story one time, I don't know whether it's true or not, was bee stings that used to come off a cow. Was that something that you'd ever sampled?
I did, I drank it once or twice. I drank it, but you wouldn't make much of it now.
Yeah.
You didn't know about going to the toilet in the morning.
No. It didn't do you any harm, though.
It wouldn't do you any harm, no. It wouldn't do you any harm. No, you could beasts wouldn't do any harm, but now today, it would put you under the lavatory very often now. Yeah. No, the calf won't live without beasts. He gets the first one. He has to get the first beasts. He'll not live. All beasts would be. I used to eat beasts one time, though once. Boiled beasts used to call it.
That was the main thing on it.
The peg away in that. It's like custard on top. There'd be that much cream on top of it.
Right.
But no, severe on the stomach.
Yeah.
I think of the life of the miner who must work all his day underground, where his lamplight is all that will shine there, and it's dark and it's damp all around. It is 2 or 3 miles to the coal face, and the tunnel is jagged and low, but he cannot find work on the surface, so it's down in the mines he must go.